Coming up, grow the business.
We did it twice.
Grow the business.
I'm such a southerner that the Midlands is north to me.
How do you say that?
That was an instant split-second decision.
If it helps, I'm dancing.
I'm really excited, but I don't know what to wear.
Was that me?
Oh, I do like a waggle in the booth.
It inhabits a space that I'm comfortable with, the big thing.
I waggle all over the place. I can't help myself.
A Viking stood upon the bow.
Holding a sword aloft.
Feckless, lazy git.
I really love doing it and playing that kind of character.
No, I want it big right from the beginning.
Yeah, you went on a journey.
And now, enjoy the podcast.
How do you say that?
How do you say that?
How do you say that?
How do you say that? Hello and welcome to today's episode of How Do You Say That, sponsored by VoxBox. This is my podcast co-host, Sam Boffin.
Hello.
Hello.
And this is Mark Rice, the other podcast host.
Indeed, and this week we are, of course, chatting to a very special guest as we have fun with some scripts and explore the world of voiceover.
So if you are a voice actor, or you'd love to be a voice actor, or maybe you're a podcaster or a director, or you simply like working with sound and mics,
yes,
then welcome to How Do You Say That?
Now, today's fun fact about Sam is that she's off to a press screening tonight for a documentary that she narrated. That's fun.
Yes.
That's fab.
It is fun. And normally I wouldn't even mention that, but the point is we're hardly ever invited to the press screening.
That's
bit
true.
of it. Or at least I'm not. And so I'm taking my son with me.
Nice.
So my plus one is my young son.
He's not going to
Well,
be
he's not
like,
that young.
oh, Mum, it's you.
No. He's studying film, so he'd be really interested
fair.
in it.
That's good.
It gives him a... Yeah, so
Lovely.
I'm really excited, but I don't know
bet
what
you
to
are.
wear. I don't know how to do my hair. Now, the keen-eared amongst you might have noticed that we are sponsored this week by
Yes.
somebody different.
And through the summer, yes.
Yes, and through the summer. So Mark's fun fact is that he's talking to us from a VoxBox.
A VoxBox.
Tell
And
me
you
more,
can,
Mark.
well, basically, you know when you go away on holiday and you make a pillow fort
Yes.
to try and get half decent sound
Yes.
for your clients? This takes away the need for a pillow fort. It's a box that's like a cube really, 60 by 60 with really, I'll bang the sides so you can hear. There, like so. You will have seen it on social media for How Do You Say That? And basically, voxbox.studio is where to go to have a look at them. And I just think it's really good because the sound quality, I'm in my dining room right now.
Yeah, I'm impressed with the
And the
sound
sound quality is good because
yeah.
actually if I come away from the box, you can just about hear, this is the room ambience.
Yeah.
And then I come into the box and it is completely dead. I'm really impressed with it.
Yeah, no, I am. Yeah, no, it sounds great. Absolutely. It's really good, and it's really portable as well. That's what I love.
It's very
about
portable. I'm going to be taking it to Gran Canaria later in the summer with me. So that'll be
Crazy
fun.
cat.
But anyway, let's get to our special guest, shall we? Because we're talking today to voiceover Paul Delaross. Hello, Paul.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Your absolute
it's a
pleasure.
I feel like I've made it now because I've been asked on your podcast. I've made it. Made it.
Bless you.
Well, let's find out a little bit more about Paul, shall we?
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So Paul has been a full-time voice actor for 7 years, and this year, he won the Best Male Performer in Animation at the UK One Voice Awards.
Amazing.
So Paul does... Yeah, absolutely. Paul does all kinds of voiceover work. He records for AAA, BAFTA-winning games. He records national, international TV ads, radio ads, cartoons, and he does ADR for feature films.
Wow, and he does all
Lovely.
that whilst living on a farm in Halifax with a herd of cows, 3
amazing.
horses, 3 dogs, and a toddler.
That sounds noisy, actually.
It
I have to
does.
say,
It does.
Paul.
Paul, have you got a fun fact for us?
A fun fact is that, over weekends and some midweeks, I also am the front man and performer with the comedy umpire show, The Amazing Bavarian Stompers.
Oh, I love it. And is there anywhere online that we can see you in action?
Yeah, you can quite a lot. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you where. It's really embarrassing.
Just a little search.
I've got there's some bits on umparty.com and abs-shows.com.
Who knew that's even a thing? Umparty.com.
We've trademarked it. We own the trademark to Umparty.
Nice.
The question on my lips is, of course, do you wear lederhosen or similar?
Well, similar. We've got a very distinct costume that we wear, which is like yellow sort of knickerbockers, red socks and red waistcoat, because we didn't want to be my girlfriend's dad started the show 52 years ago.
Wow.
And we've sort of kept the same branding and the same look ever since to stand out. So when we come out, people go, they look weird. It must be fun.
They look weird.
Because it's a comedy show.
Absolutely. I think just the fact you're wearing knickerbockers is enough for me. I mean, I'm going to be checking it out.
Surprisingly comfy.
On that note, let's have a look at the first script of our show and ask, how do you say that?
How do you say that?
So this is something that I have done recently.
Okie
A
dokie.
little script.
I don't really get what it is, Sam. To be honest with you.
It's a corporate. It's
Okay.
just a bizarrely written corporate.
Yeah.
And I have to say that it is full of every cliche in the book.
Sometimes they are, aren't they?
Sometimes they are. And to be honest, this is a very typical kind of script that you get and your heart slightly sinks.
Yeah.
I hope they're not
yeah.
listening to this. My heart slightly sinks because you think, oh, God, really? What a bizarre... it's just full of, as I say, it's full of cliches.
It doesn't have the
But
word
have they-
innovative in it, though.
Thank God.
Not in
Or
this
digital.
bit.
Normally they do.
No,
Normally they
digital.
do. You're absolutely right. But then again, it might be somebody in that company who's watched a dozen other corporate videos and gone, oh, well, that's the way it's got to be done, and has written
Yeah.
that. And you kind of go, well, surely get a copywriter in.
Well, there's that. But equally, of course, we have to find ways of making it feel fresher and, more interesting than perhaps it seems on the page. And we often get this, well, I do. Maybe it's just my corporate scripts. I look at them and go, really? But at the same time, that's the skill, I suppose, is making it sound good.
So who are we talking to here?
Who are we talking to? Well, it's an internal.
Okay, so B to
So
B, really.
Yes. I mean, the company isn't called Blaze, but I've made it so.
I was a bit concerned because I did do a corporate for a company called Blaze, and I thought, oh, maybe Sam's done
no.
the same thing. So you've changed that name.
I've changed that name. It's a kind of entertainment company, basically.
Right. Okay. Yep.
And they're obviously looking at diversity, and so this is an internal, in fact.
Okay. And is this just a short part of something much longer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they sort of a newish company? Are they, quite upbeat?
No,
or-
actually, they're very established and have been for many, many years.
I'm going to give it a go, but I don't really know how to approach it. So
Okay.
I'm going to do what Sam does and ignore the punctuation. Let's see what comes
Be
out.
my guest.
Right, okay, here we go. Oh, the other thing I have to say is because I'm using the VoxBox, I'm sitting down this week, and normally I stand in my
Ooh.
booth. So that changes
Interesting.
performance anyway, whether you sit or stand, doesn't it?
It does.
So there's slightly less space to work in, but that's okay. It's okay. Right. Well, it's important that we don't all think the same way, that we move differently, even to the same beat. Our differences are what makes life magical, and we want to celebrate being different so we can learn from each other and make better decisions, be more creative and grow the business. At Blaze, our mission is to find the best people whoever and wherever they are. A diverse workforce that can approach a task from all sorts of angles.
Lovely. Yeah, lovely. It felt really upbeat and it felt really friendly. What did you think,
Slightly
Paul?
more than I'd expected.
I think you did a really good job with that. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easy missing out, looking at the punctuation and just reading it in your head the way you would naturally read it,
Yeah.
rather than trying to follow sort of, where they've put it in, because that's the way it should be written. Sometimes it's totally
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
I've certainly gone much more down that kind of route recently. Because, I could have gone, our differences are what makes life magical. And we want to
Yes.
celebrate being different. But what's the point in that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it needs to feel. That's what I mean. Is it that these words, if you just kind of approach them in a kind of very corporate way,
Yeah.
feel a bit tired.
So I got a bit of life in there.
I think you did. Did you feel good about it?
Yeah, I did actually.
Mark?
I did actually.
Good.
I was still waggling my arms around, but I was waggling them outside the VoxBox.
Are you a waggler?
I am more these days, Paul, funnily enough. Are you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I waggle all over the place. I can't help myself. I find it very difficult to stand still and record. So, yeah.
Yes.
You like a waggle in the booth, don't you, Sam?
Well, I don't know where this is going.
It's a good job we're not filming it as well.
Oh, I do like a waggle in the booth.
Nice.
No,
Nice.
Don't put that in, please.
Too late. Too late.
A surefire way of getting something in is saying don't put it in.
That's true, actually.
Absolutely
I don't even
right.
know
Absolutely.
why I said that.
Paul, would you like a go at this one?
Yeah, I'll have a go. Yeah, of course. It's important that we don't all think the same way, that we move differently, even to the same beat. Our differences are what makes life magical, and we want to celebrate being different, so we can learn from each other and make better decisions, be more creative and grow the business. At Blaze, our mission is to find the best people, whoever and wherever they are. A diverse workforce that can approach a task from all sorts of angles.
A video
Lovely.
editor's dream, that, because you stopped
Yeah.
nicely at the end of each section, whereas I ran the sections into each other.
No,
That was it was a very light read, that, I thought, Sam.
Yeah. Oh, I loved that. I thought that really worked well. It sounded, really personable and relatable. I really enjoyed that. Nice pacing, everything. Yeah.
What's your natural accent, Paul?
I have no idea. I was born in the Midlands, and then I lived sort of all over the place, working in entertainment and holiday parks everywhere. Lived in London, just outside London, for about 10, 12 years. Then I've lived up north for the last 15 years.
Yeah, I can hear the northernness.
You see, I
Yeah.
get more Midlands out of it.
Oh, well.
So it depends where you're from.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny, though?
It's always...
I'm such a southerner that the Midlands is north to me.
yeah, but depending on who I
yes,
talk
don't,
to.
don't talk to Sam about the north.
Up north.
Depending on
right?
who you talk to.
Yeah, depending on who
Paul,
I
you
talk
were
to, they decide sort of where my accent's from. So if I talk to somebody
I'm-
from London, they
I'm-
think I'm from Birmingham. Talk to people from Birmingham, they think I'm from London. And up
I
north,
am
they have
getting a bit
no
of.
idea.
I'm getting a bit of Birmingham there. Yeah,
That's so interesting.
that is.
So is that
fascinating.
because you adapt, do you think? Or is it just because people just hear things differently? Just
Yeah, I think I do adapt. I tried
You adapt.
a long time to lose the Birmingham accent, even though I get booked
Mm-hmm.
every now and again for that. But I also, because I live in Halifax, I get booked as a Yorkshire accent loads of times.
I bet. Yeah.
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 So I'm pretty good at that now.
How
as well.
funny.
Yeah, strange.
Anyway, would you like to give us your rendition, Sam? Because I'm fascinated as to what you did with it to bring it off the page for the client.
Well, I'm slightly nervous about this, even though I did bring it with me, but because the opening bit was over a lot of people dancing in a nightclub.
Oh,
Right.
So it started in a very different way than where it eventually went. So it was as if I was a narrator talking over the music,
Oh, I see.
hence that we move differently even to the same beat.
Right.
that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Which seems
yeah.
odd now, no, but in context, it worked fine.
Mhm.
So we sort of come into it with a much greater volume, as if you're shouting to somebody within a nightclub setting.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Go for it. I'm fascinated now.
I'll see if I can do
Yeah.
it, because of course I did it to picture, and it was much
appreciate
easier.
If it helps,
to
I'm
do it to
dancing.
picture.
I'm waggling in the booth.
Dancing, thank you. Waggling in the booth.
Yeah, me too. Why not?
It's important that we don't all think the same way, that we move differently, even to the same beat. Our differences are what makes life magical, and we want to celebrate being different so we can learn from each other and make better decisions, be more creative and grow the business. At Blaze, our mission is to find the best people, whoever and wherever they are, a diverse workforce that can approach a task from all sorts of angles.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It puts a whole different spin on that, doesn't it? The beginning
Doesn't it?
of that. Absolutely.
Yeah, when you
Yeah.
see it in your mind's eye and you think, right, I get that. Yeah.
But also, as you go through to the second paragraph and you're back on mic, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
it also brought that level of kind of interaction up, I think.
Yes, and let me tell you that this, as I say, this is an entertainment
Brand.
group.
Yeah.
And I also did bits that were underwater.
Oh.
I also did bits where I threw myself out of a helicopter.
We've all been there.
a
We've all
plane.
been there.
So what it did was, although it was a straightforward script,
Yeah.
a lot of the pieces within the script were from different entertainment areas that they offer. Does that make
Oh,
sense?
clever.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that
Interesting.
makes them all seem so much more different
Yeah.
and stand out when you're recording it. So I get that.
Absolutely.
Of course.
And so
yeah.
it was, because originally when I was talking about it to them, they hadn't cut the film, And I said, well, look, I can do you a placeholder, which I did. I did my placeholder. But I said, I really need with this, I think I do need to come back and do it to picture.
Yeah.
So we did it twice.
I wish more people would do that, because I'm getting some scripts in now where they've done the placeholder read with AI and then they book a voiceover. And the point is, because the AI doesn't breathe, it's always way too fast.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to see the finished product now, with all the different parts underwater
Agreed.
and jumping out of a helicopter and everything. Can you tell us after, please, Sam, please?
I'll tell you who it is, afterwards.
Well, of course, it's worthwhile remembering that these are real scripts we've been working on, where we have changed the names and some of the details to avoid copyright issues.
We have, yeah, absolutely. So, Paul, you've bought... Now, I'm intrigued by this script because I'm not totally sure what it is.
Yeah.
Tell me more about this.
We're okay to use this. I know these guys. I've worked with them for the last probably 4 or 5 years. Strong Viking, which is like a bit like Tough Mudder, but it's sort of like a European version. And I do all sorts of different things for them.
Right.
This is sort of one of their... just telling people what they can do and how you can get a Strong Viking Finisher Shirt.
What the hell is a Strong Viking Finisher Shirt is my question.
Their assault courses, if you like, look so difficult. It's unbelievable. So you've got to be pretty special and pretty fit to finish them. So it's
Right.
like that's
Right.
why it's like the armour.
so
that
it's like a
holds
prize
Odin's
at
power.
the end.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought for a moment it might be selling shirts.
No, you get one for finishing if you can. If you can.
And this is a sort of call to action, this, is it? For the course, as it were.
Sort of. It's more of a sort of cinematic piece.
Okay.
Now that changes the nature of it, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Is it big then?
yeah. Pretty big. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm thinking lots of drums.
Drums.
Lots of drums in the background.
Boats
Yeah.
crashing
Long
into
boats.
waves and all that business, and it's like proper
It's all
fun.
happening.
Helmets with horns on.
Yes, lightning, all the rest of it. Plenty of horns.
Plenty of horns. And also, just we've got 2 alternative end lines there.
Yes.
Do we want a the or an
just
A?
choose one.
Sam,
Okay.
let's get you
It's
to do
me,
it
isn't
first,
Yeah.
shall we?
Okay. Right, okay. Vikings were known for their legendary strength and spirit. Among their legacy were not gold or land, but finely crafted armour, their second skin. Now, centuries later, Vikings from all over the world gather to challenge their strength and endurance. They crawl through thick mud, fly off the highest fjords, and wade themselves through icy waters. Only those who succeed are earning themselves the armour that holds Odin's power, their second skin. The Strong Viking Finisher Shirt.
Nice. I mean, that was quite hard. It had quite a hard edge to it, that.
Yeah, yeah.
did.
That's good. That was really good.
I could see it. I could see it against picture.
I could.
Yes,
I could
in my
see it.
brain.
It sounds ludicrously big
Yes.
away from pictures and drums, but I was thinking, surely this has got lots of,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I see what you
Exciting
mean
things.
by cinematic,
Yeah.
certainly, because the words,
Yeah.
it's a really nicely written piece.
It is.
When you put it in context.
I love doing their stuff for them because they always write it so you can really see it in your mind's eye, and I think that brings it. It makes it easier to perform when they sort of
Yeah, too
give you
right.
such a good
Yeah.
scripts. Yeah, it's always good stuff. And then when you see them done on the videos, they're great. They fit really well, and you go, "Was that me?" That's cool.
Wow.
That's great.
I would imagine there's kind of bits of percussion, that sort of punctuate it and things like that. I'd love to do that
Yeah.
to the music.
Amazing.
Okay.
Oh, I'm quite looking forward to this because it inhabits a space that I'm comfortable with, the big thing. Right. Vikings were known for their legendary strength and spirit. Among their legacy were not gold or land, but finely crafted armour, their second skin. Now, centuries later, Vikings from all over the world gather to challenge their strength and endurance. They crawl through thick mud, fly off the highest fjords, and wade themselves through icy waters. Only those who succeed are earning themselves the armour that holds Odin's power, their second skin. The Strong Viking Finisher Shirt.
Wow.
Yeah, good.
Wow, you started quite soft.
Yeah, you did.
Actually.
And then you built
And
it
I-
up and up. You knew where you was.
Yeah,
you
I
knew you
really
were going
like that.
somewhere.
I didn't know I was
Yeah.
going to do that until I began. That was an
I
instant
like
split-second decision. But I think it kind of worked.
Yeah, you went on a journey.
So you draw
Viking
them
journey.
draw them in with the
Yeah.
the slow start, then build it up.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love it.
I was quite pleased with that one. I quite like that one.
Yes.
That's when a director goes, no, I want it big right from the beginning.
Well,
It's like,
but
oh,
that's
okay.
fine because
Yeah.
actually the interesting thing about doing it that way is you can show you can do big and you can do kind of, pull them in as well as do big. So you demonstrate both things.
Interesting.
So, Paul, I'm intrigued as to what you do. Do you hit it hard at the beginning or do you draw people
Sort
in?
of
How do you do
draw
it?
them in a little bit, yeah.
Ooh.
Yes. Vikings were known for their legendary strength and spirit. Among their legacy were not gold or land, but finely crafted armour, their second skin. Now, centuries later, from all over the world, they gather to challenge their strength and endurance. They crawl through thick mud, fly off the highest fjords, and wade themselves through icy waters. Only those who succeed are earning themselves the armour that holds Odin's power, their second skin. The Strong Viking Finisher Shirt.
I loved that. It was not at all what I expected, though.
That's how I do it.
That is, I mean,
love it.
you inhabit that really,
Yeah.
I'm going to say, butch character, don't you?
Thanks very much. Yeah.
Yes.
I just try and
love it.
imagine how a Viking would do it.
Yeah.
And that's what they asked me to do at first. That's how I got the gig. So I just carried on doing it like that. I've done a couple sort of normal, but I really love doing it and playing that kind of character. So
I love that. That's like that's like textbook. Now, how do you get into character? Well, I just imagine how a Viking would do it.
yeah, I just imagine
I mean,
sort
that's
of
good for me.
stood on the bow of a boat, holding a sword aloft, shouting at all the minions below him.
I just had a flash forward to it's like a Viking stood upon the bow, and it's like let's not go there.
Is that a dirty limerick?
Let's not go there.
It would have been a dirty limerick, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Well, let's move swiftly on. I think, therefore, to the wild
Okay.
card bit.
And we quite like a Viking as a wild card, to be fair, occasionally.
We do actually, but we can't do it this time. I feel. Yeah. That would
So,
be.
Paul, can you pick one of the scripts and give one of us a new motivation or character, please?
Okay. I'm going to pick script one. Well, let's go with Mark. And I'm going to go back to my sort of Birmingham heritage and in the style of Peaky Blinders.
Oh,
Wow.
do you know what? I did an audition in that style just the other day.
Oh,
So I wonder.
fine.
I wonder if I can. Right. Okay. All right. Yes. I mean, you're thinking like Cillian Murphy's character, really, aren't you?
or Arthur, yeah.
Potentially.
I've done
Arthur.
I've done a lot of work as both of them.
Yeah. Hard-edged gangster Brummy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's important that we don't all think the same way. That we move differently, even to the same beat. Our differences are what makes life magical. And we want to celebrate being different so we can learn from each other and make better decisions, be more creative and grow the business. At Blaze, our mission is to find the best people, whoever and wherever they are. A diverse workforce that can approach a task from all sorts of angles.
Ooh, who are you talking to, our kid?
So like the Peaky Blinders family in front of them, I think,
Oh, really?
Probably. Yeah.
That was
You were galvanising them.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I like the way you were like, grow the business.
Yeah.
Grow the business.
Grow the
Come
business.
And the accent, yeah, was pretty good. Because when I do Brummy stuff, I did the Peaky Blinders game and stuff. And
Okay.
I
yeah.
have to phone at my parents or my brother and speak to them for about an hour. So I know how to
Yes.
do the pronunciations of the words properly.
I find it highly amusing because I grew up in Worcester, Paul.
Yeah.
And I have always found the Brummie accent and the Black Country accent incredibly sexy.
Right.
which
Ooh,
not a
really?
lot of people do. I mean, that should be one of my fun facts, really, shouldn't it?
Well, you've blown it now, mate. I think it's a great accent. Yeah.
It's got character.
Right. Sam, are you going to pick one for Paul?
Yes. I want you to be a tattoo artist.
Oh.
Right.
You're obviously tattooing somebody. And so you're concentrating, absolutely. But you are at times slightly melodramatic. So I'd like you to be a slightly melodramatic tattoo artist. And I'd like you to take script 2.
Yeah. Is he tattooing a Viking by any chance?
Well, take your pick. Visualise what you like.
Nice.
Oh, God. I wish I could have had this about an hour ago and had a think about it.
Oh, well, that's the joy of the wild card, Paul.
That is the joy. Is it the joy?
Or the terror.
No, you're right. It's not the joy. The terror of the wild card.
Right, okay. Vikings were known for their legendary strength and spirit. Among their legacy were not gold or land, but, finely crafted armour, a second skin. Now, centuries later, from all over the world gather to challenge their strength and endurance. Yeah. They crawl through thick mud, fly off the highest fjords, and wade themselves through icy waters. Only those who succeed are earning themselves the armour that holds Odin's power. Their second skin, the Strong Viking Finisher Shirt.
Oh.
I like that.
Lovely.
It was much lower and quieter than I expected you to go. But if you're concentrating, you would do it that way, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Dipping in the ink a couple of times, and it was right in the last few words. That's how I sort of thought.
Yeah, I did enjoy that. Did you even visualise the tattoo? Did you know what tattoo you were doing? Did you go that far?
Well, yeah, I was doing like a boat, doing the Viking boat.
Of course.
Of
course you were.
Telling a story about it.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Explaining.
On an arm, on a leg? Where were you?
On an arm, on a forearm.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
See,
It worked
I
really
love
well.
it. I love that. That's a very distinct visualisation. I like that.
I've got a visualisation for you, Sam.
Oh, dear.
I'd like you to do the Viking script as well, but I want you to be a grave digger, actually in the middle of digging a grave. So not like a modern one with a JCB, but, with a spade and everything.
Okay.
But
right,
you
then.
love your job. You love
Of course.
your job.
Okay. All right, then. Right, then. Vikings were known for their legendary strength and spirit. Among their legacy were not gold or land, but and finely crafted armour. Their second skin. Oh, yes. Now, centuries later. Blimey. Vikings from all over the world gather to challenge their strength and endurance. Here. They crawl through thick mud, yeah, right. Fly off the highest fjords and wade themselves through icy water. Only those who succeed are earning themselves the armour that holds Odin's power, their second skin. Come on then. The Strong Viking Finisher
Oh, do you know what? Every dig and every exertion was there, and that was lovely.
I could picture that easily. Yes,
Yeah.
that was great.
Totally. How far down were you, Sam, by that point?
Far down. In
So
fact,
you
I
were
could
down
only
in the
just-
ground as
I
opposed
was in the
to just
ground.
starting it off. Interesting.
And my feckless, lazy git of a grave digger was up having a fag.
I did definitely get that there was someone else there that you were
Yes.
talking
Just
to. Very much.
Indeed.
leaning on the handle of another shovel, looking down at you when you're
Exactly.
shoulder height.
Didn't care that I had a bad back,
Oh yeah.
The cheek.
Oh no, I
There
thought
it
that
was.
came. What kind of age were you envisaging?
Well, I'd like to say slightly older than I am, but probably as
agree.
old as I am.
agree. And, I think that really came across. Really came across.
The struggle.
good,
The struggle was real.
The struggle was real.
Play How Do You Say That?
Well, if you want to play along in the privacy of your own booth, we've put the script in the show notes so you can have a try yourself.
Yes, you can. Now, Paul, you've said that you're also a DJ and an onstage host for the Bavarian guys.
The Bavarian Stompers, yes.
The Bavarian Stompers. So that's quite different from being a voiceover in a booth.
It is, yeah.
What are the differences that you find between the two? Do you have to kind of go into different states, as it were?
Yeah, pretty much. The stage work came first. I was actually a dancer when I was a kid on kids TV.
Right.
Yeah, on like Wide Awake Club and
Going
live and Tiz was number 73. All those I used to dance with pop stars on.
Fantastic.
About 5 stone ago. And then as I got older, I started working on stage and hosting and fronting. I DJ'd all over the world. I was very lucky to tour with some big names and sort of old residencies at some great clubs. I worked with Frank, who started the Stompers, when I was about 18, 19, probably 30 odd years ago. And then sort of fast forward about 15 years ago, I bumped into him again by accident. And I was like, wow, how have you got the amazing Bavarian Stompers? I worked with them like when I was at Pontins as a Bluecoat.
Yeah.
So it was like really crazy. I ended up hosting, and then they opened another beer keller, and then I got involved and I fronted my own show. And it sort of went from there, really.
What are the transferable skills from one thing that you can take into the booth, do you think?
Probably being able to play a character is probably like that. But the skill set is so different. Using a mic on stage is... I thought I would only get jobs as like announcery type or voice of God stuff. And I do so little of that. It's unbelievable. And I really thought that's all I'd be good for, because that's what I did on stage. But coming into the booth and using a completely different mic, using a different technique to talk into the mic, trying to, when you do it when you're on stage, it's been and gone. When I thought I was good at impressions and stuff, when I've recorded myself, I've listened to them and gone, they're rubbish. Because you can listen back to stuff. And unless you're absolutely perfect, but when you're on stage, it's there, been and gone. You can say anything you want, you can get away with it. You can mess things up. It doesn't matter. You can cover it. It's really easy to do.
And as long as that impression is the image of the person in the audience's mind anyway, you've got them there anyhow.
And you've got and you can waggle on stage. You can use your arms. You can use the character mannerisms. Sells a lot of it. I played Austin Powers in an Austin Powers show called Shagadelic for a long time, and it was all to do with the mannerisms that sold it. So it's what can I do? And I thought I've always fancied doing a cartoon or being one of the voices on telly, and that was it. And then I sort of did a bit of digging and sort of went from there, and then realised how little transferable skills I had.
You literally would have to shrug off that sort of presenter persona.
Absolutely.
To actually come into a booth.
That's the last thing people want.
Thing they want.
There was so little transferable skills, it really sort of threw me at first. But because I had time on my hands, I was lucky enough to have a good job at the weekends. I could sort of do, as much training as I could and reading up and watching YouTube and listening to other people. So I was very lucky, really, because some people try and, as they learn, they're trying to fit it around full-time jobs and stuff like that before they get the chance to go full-time. Yeah. So.
I do a lot of stage work, and I do lots of different sort of accents and become different personas. And I'm almost reluctant. I'm nervous about doing them on mic because you can be broader on stage. You can, as you say, make mistakes. And I want to push myself to learn to be more comfortable behind a mic doing them.
Yeah. Across 80 episodes, Sam, I think we have both become freer in front of a mic, though, and this has been an excellent exercise in that.
Maybe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, you come up with some amazing wild cards. I mean, if that's not a way to push yourself.
Exactly.
But it took me a while to forget that, when you're in the booth, to forget there's anybody around, sort of, because you can be criticised. I mean, we've got directors on the line and stuff like that. Or when you're working in a studio, I've just done quite a new adult cartoon. Can't say too much about it. I went down to London to record, and there's like sort of probably eight or nine people in there, and you're trying to play a character, and it's in a different accent. And I had to it took me a long time to forget that people were watching, and just get on with it and just have fun and do it and perform, as big as I could to try and get the performance out. That took me a while to get used to that. Whereas on stage, you've got to. There's nowhere to hide.
Yes.
You're on stage, you've got lights on you, you're in front of everybody, everyone's looking at you. You've got to get it right. But there's
Absolutely.
nowhere to hide. In a booth, you
No.
can hide and you can redo it.
Yeah, it's a fascinating discussion. Thank you, Paul, for your insight on that. And a reminder that all of Paul Delaross's details can be found in the show notes.
Yes, they can. And so can today's scripts. And do subscribe to the podcast and give us a review on Apple Podcasts.
Yes, please. Well, that's it for this week. Thanks again to Paul Delaross. And we will be back next week with more scripts and another voiceover guest when we'll be asking, you've heard this, Paul, this is where we do it all together. We'll be asking, how
do you
say
that?
Timing is everything.
Timing is everything.
How do you say that?